This is the Private Officer Beat Radio with Rick McCann at the microphone. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's radio program, the Private Officer Beat Radio. Monday morning, August the 14th, 2023. You know, this is Rick McCann. I'm the founder and CEO of Private Officer. Someone recently asked, why do we sometimes, or most of the time, give the date? Well, two reasons. One, so I can look at the date and remind myself what the date is today. Maybe that will help me as I get older. And second of all, a lot of people listen to our radio programs later in the week or even in the month, and our programs are all available almost from the first get-go, from the first radio program. And so we want to make sure that people know the date and how old and when and all the information, and that's one of the reasons why we do give the date more often than not. I want to thank you all for joining us, whether you are listening live. No, we're not a podcast. I know that you can get our program at many locations where you can download podcasts and music, iTunes, and the whole other array, over 30 streaming locations now, but we are actually a radio show and we're live. We are, every time that we do a program, we are broadcasting from a studio with professional sound equipment, and we're also sponsored by some advertisers and businesses and those behind the scenes through donations. So thank you to those businesses. We definitely do appreciate the support. A couple of things that I want to bring up before we go to our first break that continues to be hovering, kind of like the big elephant in the room, if you will, and that is, of course, the changes that are coming about in Private Officer International's format and what we will begin charging for and what will be free and why. In almost 20 years of providing this service as a business, and that is one thing that many people seem to either overlook or don't care. We are a business. We're providing services and products just like any other company that you would go on the internet or into a brick and mortar store to purchase goods and services. In the upcoming days, if you are a subscriber to all of our newsletters, statistical reports, officer down notices, and all of the things that you gather through our sending them to your email, yes, you will be charged a minimal, and I don't think $4.16 a month is unreasonable, $50 annual to receive all of those news products. Now, many newspapers and digital news products charge anywhere from $14 to $25 a month. I know, because we have to pay for some of those just to gather the news that we gather. I want to address a couple of comments made in the last few days. No, you cannot get the news that we're providing online. Yes, you may go to YouTube or other news sources and find some of the stories, but many of the news stories that we publish first come to us by either security personnel, POI members, law enforcement. We get many of their media releases, and other individuals who send us tips through social media, email, or phone calls. We are providing a service, like I've said now for years. We spent about 100+ hours digging up the news, verifying the news, interviewing some people, calling to make sure that the facts are straight, and we often report the news well in advance of any media publication anyplace. One of the other benefits that is not being taken seriously is that we're doing all the legwork. We're doing all the physical aspect of gathering. Curating is the word used. We curate the news. Like I said, we verify a lot of it. We contact people. We interview people. We follow up on many news stories. Your local newspaper, local online news source might have a 2 or 3 sentence, maybe a 3-paragraph news article, but they don't follow up. They're not going to go check out the story. They're not going to see how the security officer who was shot is injured and how they're doing, or any of the other things that we do. The other thing that you cannot get, and I can guarantee that you cannot get online, you're not going to get all the statistical data that we provide. Now, why is that important? Many business owners get our newsletters. Many regulatory agencies throughout the country get our newsletters. Some law enforcement receive our newsletters, and they use all that information for training, for their own statistical information, for, just to know what's happening out there. And thankfully, a number of national and local news media also subscribe because they also want to know. I'll tell you who else subscribes. Headhunters, people who are looking for professionals in various categories, subscribe. Several federal government agencies, and we collect data and share that with many. Department of Labor, OSHA, many state and federal agencies. We are providing a service, people. $50 a month is not out of the way. I just don't. In fact, it really should be more than $100 a year, but it still continues to be an issue. We researched and we found that many people who do read our newsletters are not POI members, and many POI members don't read our newsletters. They don't listen to our radio shows. They're not engaged in any of the various things that we do or we offer. They're not engaged in the training. They don't attend regional seminars. So it's kind of been a mixed bag. I'm kind of getting fed up with all of the pushback and the negative comments and so forth. But I want to explain. I sent out a email last week explaining all the things that we do, how many hours it takes. We're paying people to do this. We are a business. My goodness, why is this so difficult to understand? All right, well, last week we didn't have a radio program. I was getting ready to go on air. I was preparing to go out of town to a conference, and a couple of situations occurred, but one of them was urgent, and it took me out of the radio realm, so I had to shut down before the show. Occasionally, we do have to have time off. We travel a lot. I travel a lot. And so from time to time, we may go a week or even 2 without a radio program. And only a couple times a year do I skip a few radio programs just to take a break. On average, we're broadcasting collectively between this radio program and several others that I have. We're broadcasting about 200 radio shows a year. We're going to take a break. When I come back, I want to talk about the violence that continues to occur. I want to talk about a couple of things that are coming up. And also, we've been talking about movies and shows that we're producing. Well, I've got some great news on that, too. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Frontline Protector, the voice of the Frontline Protector. And this is a production of Blue Ram Media Group, LLC. Body Armor USA, we've got what it takes to protect you. Whether you're looking for the top quality protective armor or protective clothing, stab-resistant vest or gloves, contact my friend Ben over at Body Armor USA. Give him a call, 516 area code 817-1666. Again, that's area code 516-817-1666. Body Armor USA, we've got what it takes to protect you. No doubt about it.
is watching, become a water watchdog at abbyshope.org.
If you're not already receiving breaking news and our bi-weekly newsletter, Officer Down reports, and discount training news in your personal or business email, then go to our website right now at privateofficer.org. Privateofficer.org. A drop box will come down. Just fill out your info, and you'll be the first, one of the first, for sure, to know about what's happening in the security industry. You'll know when a security officer is killed. You'll also get these great discounts on training and equipment and so much more. Privateofficer.org. And
welcome back to the voice of the Frontline Protector, Private Officer Beat Radio. I'm sure by now many of you, if not all, have seen the video, the pictures, watched the news about the fires on Maui. We have a number of members and friends who live in Hawaii, both on the Big Island, Maui, and some of the others, Oahu, different places throughout Hawaii. We know that it's been very devastating. Now close to 100 people have died in the fires, and some of our, at least one member's family has been affected by the fires. We don't know at this point really what's being done, how much help or aid that they've received, if FEMA or any other government agency has been sent there. We don't know what's happening. Even the news is reporting minimal information, even though this is a major event. And some people don't even know how it started. We are waiting. I'm waiting specifically for a phone call back or an email from at least one of our contacts there. And we're trying to find out what they need, see if we can come up with some resources, maybe even set up some donation avenues. We're going to wait and see exactly what the situation is, and then we will help out in whatever way that we can. We're very concerned about the number of people, with a lack of people, who have registered for the annual Private Officer International Conference being held in the beautiful Gulf Shores, Gulf Coast area of Alabama. This is a 3-day event. It's free. We've even arranged some discount hotel rooms, and we've been able to get other arrangements to help people to get to the conference. I realize that many people are hourly employees, although we do have business owners, management people, like I said a moment ago with the newsletter. We have a lot of people that are members or follow us and participate. And so I don't want to cancel this at this time, but I'm running out of time when I might have to cancel it. Please go to our website, contact us, helpdesk@privateofficer.com. Let us know that you're interested, and let us know if there's any reason that you can't make it, or if it's a financial thing. Let us know, because we want to help you. In the meantime, we're back to talking about regional conferences, or even state. Pick out 5, 6, 7, 8 states. We'll try to put something together and do one-day trainings. It seems to work better. We've done this in the past. More people are able to come out when it's within a couple of hour drives of their home, and they're able to get back and go to work, or go to work the next day. So if you would like to host one of those 1-day, 2-day type trainings, send an email to helpdesk@privateofficer.com. On another big note, Kelly Turner and Valerie Baxter recently won the meritorious awards. Henry Fox also just got a life-saving award from us, and these are great people. They've gone above and beyond really what their duty was, and we recognize them. And if you have any employees or even yourself who need to be recognized, or police officers, public safety personnel, send that information to at privateofficer.com. It doesn't have to be the annual award program. You can send those any time of the year. Now, I do want to mention, again, that it's very important that you all take part. Please, be a participant. Many people stand in the background. They read the emails, they listen to the radio shows, but they don't participate. They're consumers. They consume the information, they consume the benefits, but they don't participate. We really need your support. You can go to our website at privateofficer.org and click on the memorial link, and you can donate anytime, 24 hours a day. We really need that support to maintain this business, which is all about providing services and resources to you. In my email last week, I explained that we do a lot of work. We often help out security officers. We work with Crime Stoppers. There's a lot of work that goes on here that you may not know about unless you listen to our radio shows and read our newsletters. But we're doing the work for you, and we cannot do it for free. We do have a Unified Private Police Academy, and this is coming up. We have a new one coming up in late September. We'll be putting out information about that. We'll also be offering the Citizens Police Academy online free of charge, again, coming up in the fall. And while the fall seems far away, it's not. We've been talking about this here in the office for more than a week. It just seems like summer is rushing away and fall is nearby. We've already seen some changes in the higher elevations, and it's not even September yet. So, we are going to be offering that Citizens Academy again. If you are living in Maryland, D.C., or Virginia, you can attend the Unified Private Police Academy and be certified in all three of those states as special police officers or peace officers. Or if you just want to be certified in one or two of those states, you can also register specifically just for those states. Yes, it meets all criteria of that certification for all of those states. All of our instructors are certified by those states to teach these classes. We have a lot of courses. We do a lot of training. We're out in the field all of the time. So if your company, no matter what type of company your business it is, if you're interested in training, contact helpdesk at privateofficer.com. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, I want to tell you about some exciting news with our online TV shows and other things that's coming out. And, of course, if you're not getting our emails, you're not going to know about it. You're not going to be able to take advantage. So please sign up for that newsletter. If financially you can't afford it, I can understand that. And we've got several folks we've already given a free annual subscription. And then we've had some other people post, we're just not going to pay for something we can get for free. You can't get it for free, people. You can't. Wake up. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Private Officer Beat Radio.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove. You told me not to do drugs. You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
Are you looking for the finest private security officer training in the Charlotte metropolitan area? Do you need PPS qualifications in armed or unarmed training? Or maybe you're over there across the line in South Carolina and you need the SLED training. Well, we've got the right training at the right time for you. Premier Training Academy, located at 5624 Executive Center Drive, Suite 142 in metropolitan Charlotte, North Carolina. Give them a call today, 704-806-4933. They also offer firearms training, personal protection,
first aid and CPR, and so much more. Call John at 704-806-4933. We're excited today to announce that we have several episodes of 2 of our TV shows produced and in the can, as they say. That means that it's done and it's been put away and it's ready to broadcast quality. We're very excited about that. Now, in the upcoming weeks and months, we will begin going out to several businesses, several patrol services, a couple of one private police company, and several law enforcement agencies to do some filming and interviews for the Frontline Protector program, which is the next program that we're working on. And several of you have already sent us emails asking us to come out and ride along with you, and that you wanted to participate. If you have a patrol service, if you're active in private policing or something else, and you want to be part of the show, an upcoming show, contact Help Desk, of course, Help Desk at privateofficer.com. I think if more people got involved and more people looked behind the scenes and more people looked on our website and got really familiar with everything that we're doing for the private security industry and how we're helping, and it's been going on for years now, I think more people might understand that it takes money and that we're a business, and unfortunately, that's just how it is. If you want services and you want products, I told someone, and I think I've already mentioned this the last radio program, but somebody said I paid for a lifetime membership back in 2011, and I said, look, that's like saying you went into Subway and bought a sandwich 6 years ago and you want a free sandwich every day now or every week or every month. It doesn't work that way. You bought something, you consumed it, but that doesn't guarantee you're going to get everything for free, and that's just life. We have a lot of stuff coming up. I don't want to announce too much of it because unfortunately in this business sometimes you get disappointed. You get people that let you down, but we do have some great courses coming up. We'll be offering it dirt cheap. One of them you really need to take for sure is Interactions with the Unhoused. Interactions with the Unhoused. This is being taught in person to several different types of businesses, not just security and private police, but also other businesses. But we'll be offering this online coming up sometime next month, probably for $99 or $129, whatever. You really need to take care of it, to participate in it, and to take this course, because it really is going to be eye-opening and help you how to, interact with people of all types, but especially those who are unhoused and who are today taking over property and burglarizing, squatting, trespassing, and we are the ones, we are the frontline protectors who are going to be engaging with these unhoused people and migrants well before law enforcement arrive, if they even do arrive. One other thing that we have recently gotten involved in locally here, and if this works, I'm going to set it up as a model, and this is really coming out of my own personal experience as a young teenager, 14 years old, and that is I've recently put my school and business and a few of our employees, engaged them with the Police Explorer program. This is a national program. It was started through the Boy Scouts of America It was started through a few individuals who I can't remember if they were police officers. I believe it was, and some others, and it became a national program, and it's had its ups and downs, but overall it's really an excellent program. It was founded in 1973, and like I said, the Boy Scouts of America was affiliated with it, and the program helps 14 to 21-year-olds kind of get to see what law enforcement is all about. They also have one for the fire service, and it's been, I think, a great program. Like I said, there's been some up and downs and some internal problems along the way. Just like any organization or business, overall, I think, though, it's a good thing. So we've just recently got involved, and I hope to be able to help with some training in several different states. And if this works as a model, I'll put it together and get some other folks associated with POI involved. We're going to take another quick break. When I come back, I want to talk about some violence that's going on, a court case that was just last week on Friday adjudicated, and I'm very happy that it came out this way, and I'll tell you more about that. And we'll be right back. You're listening to the voice of the Frontline Protector, the private officer.
From coast to coast, cops are cracking down on seatbelt violations. Buckle up day and night, or expect a ticket. It doesn't matter who you are or where you live, they'll be on the lookout. Cops write tickets to save lives. Click it for a ticket.
The Federal Aviation Administration wants you to fly your drone responsibly. Avoid flying your drone near other aircraft, especially near airports. Fly your drone below 400 feet. Always keep your drone in sight. If you see a safety issue involving drones, contact local law enforcement immediately. Fly smart. Fly safe. Have fun.
On Friday in Nashville, Tennessee, a high-profile case involving a fatal shooting by a security officer. And when I say high-profile, not only high-profile for the Nashville area, but it actually made national media, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. But a security officer back in October of 2018, and we've carried this story since the very first incident, but the security officer was on patrol downtown, in the downtown area, when a shooting occurred. Two vehicles were shooting at each other. One man jumped out of the car with a gun, and he began walking toward where the security officer was on duty. It was at a business called the Pharmacy, Burger, Parlor, and Beer Garden. Patrons were dining. People were having a good time. They were eating when this man with a gun began walking down the street, still shooting at another vehicle. Security officer Nathan Glass, 29, fearing for not only his life, but customers. Even though the man had not fired any shots toward the business, he was armed and he was shooting at others in the street, and he was approaching the business. The security officer, fearing for his life and others, fatally shot the armed suspect. Now the case went to the police. The police investigated, homicide investigated. It went to the attorney, the state's attorney in Tennessee, and she said no, this was justified. And several years later, or in the interim, Nathan Glass became a police officer. He was hired, went to the police academy, and then he was indicted for second-degree murder in this man's death. He was suspended from the police academy because he was still there, hadn't finished it up yet. And after looking at all the evidence, the police chief at that time asked if Officer Glass could continue the academy because he hadn't been found guilty. He was just indicted. And there was a good chance that he wouldn't be found guilty, and they wanted to get him through the academy so that if he was found not guilty, he would be able to go right to work. Well, they allowed that, and he went through the academy. But unfortunately, because of politics, because of other things that, didn't look normal, they decided to take Officer Glass and terminate him. They terminated him. Well, he did go to trial this past week, and as I thought would happen, he was found by a jury not guilty on all charges. Even though the district attorney at that time said there wasn't enough evidence, it was a good shooting, he was defending himself and others, and it would be, unreasonable to put him through a trial. But, it's all politics. A new prosecutor came in and said, "Oh no, this is murder, and we're gonna put him through the ringer." The deputy district attorney, Amy Hunter, during the trial, said the shot that he fired was a sucker punch, except it was with a bullet, and it ended a man's life. And she tried to portray the man as a victim, but the man had a long criminal record, and at the time of his death was shooting randomly at a vehicle and several other people in the area, and still had the gun, still was shooting as he approached the business. Now, I don't know if this security officer, aka police officer, will ever be admitted back into the police academy, but I think he has a lawsuit against maybe the police department and maybe some others. His attorney said the jury spoke, and what they told us is that Pam Anderson, the former DA, was right in her decision not to prosecute, and that Nathan Glass acted to protect the people that he was charged to protect. The defense attorney, after winning the case, went on as an outcry, telling people to wake up, allow the protectors to protect. Now, the family of the man killed, who was black, filed a lawsuit over the shooting against the security officer, who was white, and other parties. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because I believe it was a justified shooting, but unfortunately it was settled without going to trial. The settlement was not made public. I don't know if it will ever be made public, but unfortunately, this is our world today. This is what we're seeing. Not only law enforcement, but security officers also being put through the ringer. Security officers, they are definitely lone sheep with the wolves trailing them. And here's another example. This just happened last week. Just outside of Charlotte, across the line in South Carolina, in Rock Hill, there's a large amusement park. In fact, it's getting larger every year. They keep on building. And it's a regional amusement park, something sort of close to Six Flags. A mob attacked an unarmed security officer. What happened was the mob was told that because of their activities and behavior, that they couldn't ride these particular rides anymore by one of the workers, and they became irate. Security was called, and he tried to escort several of them out of the park, and that's when he began punching the security officer, knocking him down. Others that were with this person joined in, kicking, stomping the security officer. And I hate to say this, but the security officer's white. The suspects were all black. This happened recently in Texas or California, I believe, where a security officer was killed after escorting someone out of a nightclub. I don't know. I don't want to say these are all racial things, but I have news for you. There are some people of all colors that have strong hate for authority. And that's what really scares me today about all of these unarmed security officers and even armed security officers, because they're poorly trained. And the minute that they get attacked, I know they're going to pull their weapon. I'm old. I'm almost as old as dirt. I'm getting older. And I just told someone recently that on patrol, I'm coming across a lot more resistance, and I've had to pull my weapon a few times, more than probably even my first year as a police officer on patrol in a city. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have the answers, but I know that it's getting worse. Unarmed security officers, you're just putting them out there to be victims, to be assaulted and killed. Armed security officers without training, again, you're putting them out there to face criminal prosecution or even death. And I don't know. I really need your help. Helpdesk@privateofficer.com. You have some comments, good comments. We get a lot of foolish comments, but please send them to us. We're going to take a quick radio show break, and we'll be back. I got a few more things to say, and well, we're going to take a quick break, and I'll say them coming up real soon. We'll be right back.
When I was 3 or 4, we kind of just grew up together. He got his license when he was 16. We were going to the beach, and Luke was driving. I was in the passenger seat, and all of a sudden, I don't remember anything. I wasn't conscious for it. We got hit by a drunk driver. I feel like I knew right away that it was never going to be the same. I don't know. The doctors, they were telling me I was so lucky to be alive. When I found out that he died on impact, I didn't really feel lucky. And sometimes I still don't. Drinking and driving is completely unnecessary, and I think it's selfish if you do it. It's not worth taking that risk, because you never know what's going to happen.
So you think you can beat a train? Well, think again. Even at low speeds, trains can cause serious injuries or death. You must slow down and yield when you approach all railroad crossings. If the train is approaching, always stop behind the solid white line, or at least 15 feet from the crossing. Never stop on the tracks. It's the law, and it can save your life. Proceed only when the train has cleared the area and no other trains are approaching. Please be safe at all railroad crossings. And remember, never stop on the tracks.
In the news roundup this week, a Fort Worth security guard has been found guilty of raping a child while on duty. The Fort Worth bus station security officer was sentenced to life in prison this past week after a jury found him guilty of aggravated sexual assault of a child. The Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney said the security officer, Quincy Neighbors, 36, saw a young girl at the bus station where he was working. He talked to her and found out that she was a 12-year-old runaway. The girl was looking for help at the bus station, and the security officer took advantage of her. According to the district attorney, that's not the first time that he's raped a minor. He was found guilty of rape of a 16-year-old in Louisiana. How? Why did he become a security officer? Texas is a regulatory state. You got to have a license. What happened? Security companies need to do a better job. This time, fortunately, Quincy Neighbors will never rape again because he's been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. A security officer in Hartford, Connecticut has suffered injuries after a beatdown himself. He's at the Hartford Hospital with multiple injuries and no word as to his condition. Across the country, some states are fighting retail theft. Organized retail theft is out of control. I've worked in retail loss prevention, LP management. Organized retail theft was just becoming a thing in the 3 or 4 years before I left the industry. I can tell you that most shopliftings are not, a candy bar. It's not because someone's stealing something because they're hungry. Most of it's for money purposes. A number of states across the country have formed strong bonds with retailers and regulatory and law enforcement, and new laws have been put in place. DAs in certain areas now becoming very strict on those prosecutions, and I hope that they continue. We have mentioned a number of times about the LA Dodgers being sued over the last 5 years numerous times by people they say were beaten, excessive force used by security. Well, just this past week, 4 more people have filed lawsuits against the LA Dodgers, the city of Los Angeles, and their security company, alleging that in some cases they got beat downs, they were handcuffed. One person went unconscious during a beating. The security guards did not call an ambulance. They took her handcuffed into an office, unconscious, and waited, according to the claim, for more than a half hour before an ambulance was called. In Everett, Washington, a casino security officer arrested for sexually assaulting a guest in her hotel room may not serve any time at all in jail. Travis Sanderson, 33, received a suspended jail sentence of 1 year after he pled guilty to 4th-degree assault with sexual motivation, a gross misdemeanor. That misdemeanor could put him in jail for 364 days. The latest charge amended now to 2nd-degree rape, a felony, and still he may not serve any jail time at all. It really does give the security industry a bad name. In Vicksburg, Mississippi, the U.S. Army of Engineer Research and Development Center, their security staff recently trained with local law enforcement on takedown, aggressive behavior, and a number of other situations. Police working with security is not new. We're seeing this happening more and more. Nearly 50,000 Americans have died by suicide in 2022, according to CDC, a record high, they say. This 2.6% increase from 48,183 in 2021 is the highest ever recorded. Let me read that again. Almost 50,000 people died by suicide in 2022, and that includes many police, fire, and even security. Oklahoma City Southern Oaks Library security guard faces 9 felony charges. Again, sexual assault, sexual abuse. Peter Prieto, 40, of Oklahoma City, now charged with 8 sexual abuse offenses and a pattern of criminal offenses during his on-duty security guard. This happened at a library. He took advantage of a 14-year-old getting her pregnant. This is just outrageous. And, I want to say more, but I won't. Vallejo, California police will no longer respond to most activated alarm calls. Unless it's a alarm that's coming in manually, or it's a trip alarm, like at a bank. 98% of all house alarm calls are not emergencies or false alarms, and police don't have the staff. As an instructor in the electronic security industry for several regulatory agencies, we're teaching the same thing. Many alarm companies are now hiring security companies to respond to those alarms. Richmond, Virginia just contracted with a local security company to patrol their housing authority. The housing authority, which once had a police department, was disbanded in 2014. Rumors, and I was told last year that they were about to start up their police force again, but instead, the Richmond Housing Authority has decided to give private security, armed security, a chance at trying to quell some of the violence. I personally don't agree with this. In Benton County, Washington, security at the nuclear site got some more canine officers, bomb-sniffing, explosive-sniffing dogs to add to their canine teams already in place. The dogs have been trained and tested for explosive detection, and according to the Department of Energy, they meet all requirements. A 17-year-old in Dallas, Texas, has been indicted for murder of a Dallas security officer. The shooting, which happened at a garage in the 8200 block of Westchester Drive, just within the last month or so, the security officer was identified as Alberto Santiago, the 17-year-old murder suspect, Antoine Osborne. A Denver security officer who was really a disc jockey working part-time as a security officer at a nightclub was gunned down in the parking lot after he escorted somebody who was causing trouble outside. Police say they don't have anyone in custody at this time. A former pastor in Florida is accused of running a retail theft ring to sell $1.4 million of stolen goods on eBay. The one-time leader of the St. Petersburg Church gathered up some family, relatives, and friends and put together a team of thieves. They would take high-end merchandise and quickly sell it for a profit on eBay and other online resources. A former Walmart worker set a Walmart store on fire in Alabama. Now, that employee faces dozens of criminal charges, felony charges, and it could be escalated to federal charges of arson, causing more than $100,000 in damages. Jayla Fain, 26, is charged with first-degree arson, 2 counts of first-degree arson, 1 count of theft of property, 1 count of criminal mischief, and 32 counts, felony counts, of reckless endangerment. She was upset about being fired, so she came back and shoplifted at the store and set it on fire. We're going to close out the news this week with this story. 2 men robbed a Milwaukee bank, even though a security officer was at the door. Police say that 2 men entered the U.S. Bank near 56th and Capitol. Danquelle Johnson and Ricky Jones are each facing 1 count of robbery of a financial institution. When they came in, they were wearing masks, bandanas over their face. They were told by the security officer they couldn't do that. One man was carrying a gray plastic bag. The security officer told him he had to put that away too. Both parties went up next and robbed several tellers. What do you think they did with that bag they had? They stuffed the cash in the bag. They made their way out the door before the security guard ever knew what was happening, getting away with $10,570. Lucky for the police, they were quickly taken into custody, they say, because inside one of the sets of cash was a GPS tracking device. Yeah, they didn't think about that. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Private Officer Beat Radio.
Hi, I'm Leon the Lightning Lion, here to tell you that thunder roars, Go indoors. Thunder is loud, but lightning is dangerous and can hurt you even before it rains. When you hear thunder, go indoors quickly. Head for a house, school, or large building. If you're caught outdoors, get in a car, truck, or bus. Never go under a tree. Stay off telephones, computers, and video games. Remember, play it safe. When thunder roars, go indoors.
Welcome back to the Private Officer Beat Radio. We have a lot going on in this business, a lot happening that is unusual in the matter that it just really isn't the norm for private security, especially contract security. We're having more and more interactions with violent criminals. We'll be talking about that on Sunday's Loss Prevention Zone radio show. We're seeing more and more private security officers have to defend themselves. Little things becoming confrontations, and the same is true for law enforcement. And it's not going to get better. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not try to, make believe, the world's going to get all lovey-dovey and everything is going to be grand and everyone's going to be... No, it's not going to happen. My observations in the many years that I've been on this earth is that the more that you allow people, the more rope that you give people, the more that you allow people to do whatever they want to do without consequences, the more they're going to. And they're going to take it to the extremes, to the point where people not only get injured, but they get killed. And more violent actions currently involve private security of all types, whether it's loss prevention, mall security, school security, campus security, private police, uniform security in any way. I've said this over and over again. If they're not going to obey the commands of law enforcement, what makes you think they're going to obey something that the security officer is telling them to do? It's just not going to happen. I believe that contract security in particular are allowing their employees to be injured and even killed because of the lack of training. Putting one person into a violent apartment complex or someplace where they've had violent crimes, it just doesn't work, and you're really just leading them to the slaughter, to be honest with you. We need to rectify that. We need to figure out how we're going to overcome this. We need to figure out how are we going to prevent injuries and deaths. It's the same old song. It's just a different day. But I am seeing more businesses, more security companies, more security and private police officers, and just business owners in general jumping on the bandwagon and understanding it's enough. Enough is enough, and it has to be met. Force has to be met with force. There's no other way. We can try to be subtle. We can say, observe and report. That doesn't work when you're under attack. It doesn't work when people are violent and they have the intentions of hurting you. Don't hurt me because I'm not going to do anything. I'm just observing. Come on, that's foolish. That's just wishful thinking that people will just back off at that point and say, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. It's kind of a dream world. We need to figure out what it is that we're going to do, and I've said this in the last few years numerous times. We need to either be strictly observe and report, where we're locked into a secured environment. And just recently at I believe it was a Toyota plant, a security officer that was in a guard booth was a man, an armed man, took over the booth and held him captive, which is kidnapping. So when you start saying, just observe and report, that doesn't work either. That doesn't work. I can tell you, because we record all of the news and statistics, I can tell you many security officers just sitting in their car, just observing and reporting, have been kidnapped, carjacked, assaulted, beaten, robbed. It doesn't work. We need to get on the ball. We just have to. I believe unless you're going to lock someone up in a very secure environment where they're watching by camera, that's one thing. But if you're going to put them out where they have interactions with the public in any place. It doesn't matter if it's a real retail store, a shopping mall, a business complex, a hospital. It doesn't matter. Things happen, and they're happening now at more frequency, and they are directly affecting security officers' health, directly affecting their life. It is a very dangerous situation. We just need to come up with how to proceed with this, and it can't be the same old thing. We can no longer be a staffing company. We can no longer be a labor company. We're not about labor. We're about security. We're about securing, protecting life and property. It's going to take a lot more doing than what we're doing, and I can tell you that for sure. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Private Officer Beat Radio. Remember, you can always follow us on Facebook /Private Officer, Twitter /Private Officer, and also contact us at the help desk, privateofficer.com. Until the next time, you all be safe, be blessed, and we'll see you back here on the radio.